question was, what is pain? So I have to limit that question to a certain very specific pain. And that's the pain of leaving behind the sense that my story is the only story.
What's a part of myself that I show the world, and what is my mask? What is the part behind the mask?
I'm standing here talking to you right now and I'm sweating bullets because I feel naked. Anytime I open myself up, it's fearful because I feel like I'm going to be judged. I feel like I'm going to be ridiculed.
There is a conflict inside my body right now. A conflict that's telling me, go for it, but at the same time, hold on. Think about it.
When we're hardened from our environment and our upbringing, that creates a numbness. The fear of someone being able to take you out. We walk around with that paranoia due to something that's been ingrained over time.
I am a cancer survivor. I grew up in a culture where I was taught to be tough, not to express emotion.
As a Palestinian child, I had to be ready when I leave my house to my school, to go through a checkpoint and to face a full armed soldier without being afraid.
As a kid, I was 7 years old. I didn't know what's going on. I didn't know what Tutsi and Hutu and Twa'is. I just saw people as people.
So I had no option. I was afraid, but I'm not allowed to show fear. The only thing I'm allowed to show is strength.
They're killing us, we have to hide. That was the most important thing to think about.
I submitted to molestation under the threat of my younger sister being harmed.
The people who killed my father, were white men. He was killed when I was 6 years old. 3 assailants chased him, and one of them assaulted him and beat him to death.
I was a victim of child abuse, and I was a victim of being a young runaway who lived on the streets from the age of 16 for quite some time.
I was married, and I had a kid, and she died, and I signed a record deal, and I didn't go through with it because my kid died. And then I moved to Vegas and got shot. Then I came here thinking I was gonna get away from something, and wound up living on the streets, and that was just like, whoa.
My older brother molested me. People don't understand that makes it hard to go through life. They don't understand that it hurts so bad that I needed to get high for most of my life.
I felt that I'd been wronged. I felt that I should have been loved by my father.
And because my traumatized brain had split the world into those bipolar sort of binary perspectives, of course, when you're living in a clash of civilizations, us versus them, global war on terror, you either ally with us or you're with the terrorists. I was one of the few Americans that chose the terrorists.
When I left home at 13 years old, I went out into the streets, into the gutter, and adopted a gang lifestyle.
We walk down the street back at home, we have these. My buddy has those. I don't know how good he can throw them, but he has his hands too.
And so the ideas I adopted were totally in conjunction with a victim narrative and archetypes that I had built inside of myself that had a lot of anger.
I used to face many things through my day, every single moment, that forced me to hold the identity of being a fighter, a warrior.
I stopped feeling. And out of that, what was born was something is wrong with me. As a person, I am wrong. I am broken.
People would react to casual things I would say with horror. And then I learned that I was a victim at that point. I was like, oh, I get to take on this role where something horrible has been done.
I learned how to express feelings in a maximum security prison. There was always a need to project strength. There was always a need to project alpha-ness.
This little white girl comes sprinting up to me and hugs me extremely tight. Immediately, I was like, bang, bang, alarms going off. 200 110-pound, 6'2" black male hugging a tiny little white girl in public. She's in a leotard. I'm dead.
I want to put myself in the place of the one who's choosing how I'm seeing the situation. You know, and is there any other way to see the situation that feels better than the one I'm currently using?
It washed away all of the stereotypes. It washed away the preconceived notions. I remembered what dance meant for me in that moment because of all of those feelings rushing back in.
Telling the story in theatre, in what, that's when empathy and, you know, feeling that freedom of crying came back again, because I knew that if I cry, subconsciously, no one is going to kill me.
What was controlling the situation between the three of us is the fear, is the trauma. Everyone is afraid from the other.
And I suddenly saw that there's something that I don't see. And I realized that I was completely blind. I was embarrassed. I felt that humiliated myself. That I said I pick up every person, which means either that I didn't see the Palestinians or I didn't see them as people. And that's against everything I believe, that I'm dehumanizing. So I felt called to change that.
And then I realized who I want to be in life is someone who helps others not have to live like I lived.
Because I think most people think that for identity to be meaningful, it has to be exclusive. That I'm right and you're wrong. I exist and you don't exist. My story is true and your story is false.
And the only way I can do that is if I'm willing to share who I really am. Good, the bad, and the ugly.
I do know that that there's young people all over who is trying to navigate it by themselves and who's trying to live in this world. And our young men are in crisis.
I was angry all my life, but every time I get more angry, there is something comes to me and stop me. And you know what is it? It's my first identity that I hold when I was born, which is the identity of being a human being.
I think because we taught men things when they were boys that they're not supposed to feel. They can't show emotion. That's not man enough. Suck it up. And then we wonder why they become adults who can't feel, who are emotionally disconnected, because we trained them that way.
My experience was that when I was able to accept the sadness, it's when I was really able to open myself up to the absolute beauty of life.
I think when you find yourself, you find everybody else. You can see everybody else for who they are, and it's like, it's cool. Feel better.
It's okay to feel. You're gonna hurt. You're gonna know sadness. You're gonna feel pain, and that's all right. It's a part of the process. It's a part of being human. Don't be afraid to be human. I taught myself how to not be human.
When I think about peace, I think, oh, peace is not going to be anything I'm asking for. Peace is going to be something I'm going to give.
So peace building, peacemaking, is about collecting the sparks of conflicting truths, bring them all together, and creating a situation in which each of them sees the light in the other. That's some vision there. Wow. When are we going to get to that?